Welcome students. Students, today we are going to learn about the SQL, which is the part of the DBMS chapter. And this is as I said earlier, that queries is the most important part, and also the SQL, you can say, yes, it is an important thing to learn but for your exam point of view, okay, make sure that till queries you do yourself, prepare yourself pretty well. SQL is something, okay, that is also very important as far as if you really want to learn about DBMS, then you really need to learn SQL. So knowledge point of view, it is very important, but for exam point of view, okay, you need to understand few things of it, but make sure that you prepare yourself very well till queries, whatever I have taught. So SQL, which stands for Structured Query Language. So it is a language. It is just like a programming language. Okay, it is also a language, a query language, and using the SQL commands. Okay, so we are going to learn about the SQL commands, and using the SQL commands, we are going to create the table. We are going to do some data entry into the table, right? All that we have done before using the table design, and then we had feed data into the table, right? All that we are going to do using the SQL. Now this is a kind of you can find this a bit more complex than what we have done before, but this is also very important as far as knowledge is concerned, because you should be aware of the query language. So SQL is basically a domain-specific language used in programming and designed for managing data held in relational database management system, that is RDBMS. And I told you that the DBMS that we are learning is RDBMS, or for stream processing in a relational data stream management system. Okay, so this is a very technical definition. So I'm going to explain you everything, show you everything, what exactly is SQL and the SQL commands. So we really don't have a lot of scope as far as your the class 10 is concerned. We don't have many things, but there is a limited things that has been given in the book, so I'm going to cover that. So basically there are two types of SQL command. That is, first is the DDL command, which is data definition language. Now these commands, data definition language, that is DDL, are used for designing the table, making some changes in the design of the table, for deleting the table, and so on. So everything that is concerned with the structure of the table, okay, those commands are called as DDL command, that is data definition language. Please remember this. That is for designing and altering. Altering means editing the table. Those commands are called as DDL command. Whereas data manipulation language, this is basically concerned with the data that we have in the table. So we can perform various operations on the table, on the data that we have in the table. Okay, so everything that is concerned with the table, the operations that we are going to perform in the table, such commands will be called as DML command, that is data manipulation language. So all the commands that are meant for the data, those are DML commands, and all the commands that are concerned with that are related to the structure of the table are called as DDL command, that is data definition language. Let us switch to the base, and this is the base. And now what we used to do, we used to click on create table in design view, right? And then we used to type the field name, and then we used to choose the field ID, and so on. This is what we have learned till now, but the same thing we are going to do it with the SQL commands. And as I said, this is a bit more complicated to understand as far as what you have done before. Okay, so I'm going to close this, and now I'm going to create the table using the SQL command. And remember just now what I said, for creating the table, the structure of the table, designing the table, changing the design of the table, all such commands will be called as DDL command, that is data definition language. So the first command that we are going to learn is a DDL command. Please remember this. Okay, so I'm going to click on tools, and then there is an option called as SQL. Okay, that is a structured query language. And over here you're going to type your commands and you're going to click on execute for executing the command. And whatever commands you're going to execute, it is going to affect our database. Understand it. Okay, so let us go ahead, and the first command that we are going to learn is the create table. So the moment you can see create space table, now you can see that the color has changed in blue. Okay, which indicates that create table is a command of SQL. Okay, so everything that is in blue will indicate you that it is a clause or it is a command of SQL. So create table, now you can type this in capital or you can type this in small case also, it will not make much of a difference. So create space, and there is a space, understand, create space table. So create table, and then I can specify the name of the table. Remember, when we design the table, we specify the fields, the field types, and then when we close that window, it will ask you to save the table, and then we give a name to the table. But over here we need to specify the name of the table before itself. So I'm going to give the name that is student. Okay, and you can see the color of this is green, so this is not really the SQL command. Okay, so create table is the command, and then understand the syntax. Create space table, then the name of the table. And what is the name of my table? That is student. Then the opening, that is the opening parenthesis and the closing parenthesis and a semicolon. Okay, that is the syntax. So opening and closing brackets, parenthesis, and outside there is a semicolon. Inside this we are going to specify the field names and their field types. Remember what was the first field we used to always specify? That is ID. So I'm going to specify the same ID, and the data type of this is going to be integer. Remember, we used to choose the data type from the drop down. So the same thing we need to type out here. So I said ID space integer. Okay, and then I'm going to say this is going to be my primary key. So space primary space key and then a comma. So that is how I make my first field, that is ID, which is going to be an integer data type, and it is going to be a primary key. And then give a comma, come to the next line. Now you will give a space and you can type your next field. So the next field is roll underscore number, right? Roll underscore number. So sorry, okay, yeah. So roll underscore number, please do not give any space like roll space number. Okay, the field name should not have a space. So roll underscore number. And this also I'm going to keep this as integer and then give a comma. Please remember this syntax. Okay, comma is very important, otherwise it is going to show an error. Then I'm going to say name, and name I'm going to keep it as varchar or varchar, and it is going to be 100 characters, that is 100 bytes. Then I'm going to have that is class, and class also I'm going to keep it as varchar, and I'm going to keep it as 20 characters. Then again a comma, do not forget the comma. Okay, and then I can have section varchar and again 20, and if this is the last the last field, then you don't have to give a comma out here. Please remember this. Okay, if this is the last field, do not give a comma. Then comes the closing bracket, that is the closing parenthesis and the semicolon. So this completes the the first command. It starts from create table, the name of the table is student, opening bracket, ID integer primary key, then the roll number, which is the field name, data type is integer, then again name, which is the field name, the data type is varchar, that is 100 characters, then class, that is also varchar, section, and then closing bracket, and then the parenthesis. Okay, and now you can see there is an execute button out here. Just simply click on that and you will get the status as command successfully executed. Okay, this is the command that you should get it, the status that you should get it. Now this is an indication that this particular command has successfully been executed. Okay, so now if I just close this, now I don't really see this tables out here. I don't know why, but it should show me the table out here, but the table has been created. Please remember that. But if I just close this, okay, I close, I keep save this, and now again I open this, go to tables, and now you can see that student table. So once you just have to close that, but remember, even if it doesn't show the table is being created, okay, if it gives the status as query successfully executed, which means the table has been created. Okay, so one just close that once and just open it again, and you will see the tables. So this is the first table, and we have successfully created the table, and now we can do the data entry. But now we are not going to do the data entry using this window the way, okay, the GUI basically. We are going to do the data entry using the SQL commands itself. But before I do that, okay, what we need to do is, now we are going to create one more table, and the name of that table will be the marks table. If you can remember, we created two tables, and we also connected those two tables. We joined those two tables, right? We created a relationship between the two tables. So we are going to do the same thing, and we're not going to go into tools, relationship, and all that. We're going to do everything using the SQL command. So let us go ahead, click on tool, click on the SQL, and again I will type a new command out here. And the new command, as I said, we are going to create a table. So I'm going to use the DDL command, that is data definition language. So again, I'm going to use create space table. Name of the table is marks. Then the opening and closing parenthesis semicolon come in between them, right? In between the brackets, I'm going to type the fields and the field types. So first is ID, which is going to be integer, and it is going to be my primary key as well. And then what I need to do is, okay, let me just type the fields, that is ID, and then I'm going to have, that is a student ID, right? Student underscore ID. Even this is going to be my data type, is going to be integer data type, right? And then if you can remember, what we had is the subject names, that is English. We're going to keep that as a integer data type. And then we have English, then Hindi, right? So you can have all the subjects out here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to keep two subjects, okay, just to save time. And so we have ID, which is the primary key, and we have student ID, which is an integer, and we have two subjects. So you can have more subjects out here, like what we have done before. We had 5 subjects, but over here there are 2 subjects. And now what comes, very important part, is I'm going to make this student ID as a foreign key, right? And we're not going to do that going into the tools and relationship. We're going to use something like this, that is foreign space key. Okay, so foreign key, and my foreign key over here is what? It is student underscore ID. That's my foreign key, and it is going to be connected to which ID? It is going to be connected to the student's ID, right? That is the student's table ID. Already we have created the student's table, right? So I'm going to say references. Okay, references, that's the word. So it is going to refer to, it is going to refer to which table? To student table. And in the student table, it is going to refer to the primary key of that student table, that is the ID, right? As I said, this is a bit complex for you to understand, but I'm trying my level best to explain you. So foreign key over here is the student ID. It is going to refer, so that is references. That's the exact spelling that you need to type. So references student, which is the table that we have already created, and it is going to refer to the ID. So student ID and the ID of the student table are connected basically. Okay, and since this is the last line of the statement, do not give a comma out here. Please remember that. Okay, then the closing bracket, and then the semicolon. So hope everything is fine. I will just check everything is fine or not. ID is integer, primary key, student ID is also integer, English as integer, Hindi as integer, and then the foreign keys. Let me check the spelling of foreign. Is it right? That is FOREIGN. I hope it's that's the right spelling. Now let me just click on execute, and it has successfully executed, which means now we created one more table, that is the marks table, and also we have connected the marks table to the student table. Okay, and we haven't gone for any of the GUI way of doing it. Basically we need to go on tools and then the relationship, then we can see two tables. That's the GUI basically. So we have done this using the SQL commands. So we have successfully created two tables, and now again that we cannot see that. Okay, this should not happen, but let me just save this first. Click on file, then click on close, and let me just open this again. Go to tables. Okay, let me go to tables, and now you can see there are two tables, that is student table and the marks table. So now we have successfully created two tables, and not only we have created two tables, we have actually connected these two tables by using the SQL commands. Okay, this is again, I repeat, a bit complex way. You might find this a bit complex as compared to what we done before, but exam point of view, please just focus till queries, and whatever I'm trying to teach you for the SQL command, a bit of that will help you for your exams. Okay, now let us go ahead and let us do some data entry. And now we're not going to double click on the table and do the data entry. No, we're not going to do that. Everything we are going to do with the SQL commands. Okay, till now whatever I've shown you, that is a create table command, is a DDL command, that is data definition language, which is used for creating the table, editing the table, manipulating the design of the table. Okay, and now the command that we are going to run or learn, that is a DML command. That is, we are going to enter the data into the table. So we are going to use the DML command, that is data manipulation language. So let me just click on tools, go to SQL, and now we're going to type over here the command for inserting the data. And how do we insert the data using the SQL command? Okay, the way to do it is using the insert command. Okay, insert command. So let me just okay, that is insert, if I'm not wrong, insert, then the name of the table. Okay, please remember out here that we need to first enter the data into the student table. Okay, this is very important. Okay, and then we have to enter the data into the marks table. So enter student, and then I need to specify the ID, the fields, that is student, that is ID. Okay, name, sorry, it was roll number, then name, and it was class, comma, section. The field names should be exactly what you have given in the table. Okay, the name should be exactly. If there is some different spelling that you're using, then it is going to give you an error. So these are the fields, and then give you can come to the next line and give values, and you can see that insert is in blue color and the values is also in blue color. So these two are the SQL commands basically. Okay, then I need to specify, see, ID, roll number, name, class, and section. So ID, I need to give the ID, that is 1, roll number also 1, separate it by comma. Since this is integer, so I'm straight away giving the numbers. Then comes the name. Now name is a string character, so you have to give that with a single quote. Okay, the single comma that you can see, inverted commas, or okay, that be you, but we call in programming language, we call this as single quote and a double quote. So single quote, so I'm going to say this as Ajay under the single quotes, then name, and the class I can give as 10, again under single quote, because even that is a character varchar, right? And then I'm going to use this as a, and closing bracket and the semicolon. So this is the syntax that we have to use. If you make any mistake in the syntax, it is going to throw an error. And when I'm doing this, okay, things will run pretty nicely, pretty, it is going to just go smooth, everything. But once you try to do it, it is going to give you an error, because that's just a learning stage for you. I have done this thousands of time I've done this, so that is the reason it will go pretty smooth for me. Okay, so this is how to do it. And then the moment I click on insert, and now you can see there is an error. Why there is an error? Because we have not specified the command properly. Why? Is because insert into, that is what I forgot. Okay, so insert into, even that is in blue color. Student, name of the fields, that is the bracket, closing, opening and closing bracket, parenthesis, values, again the opening and closing bracket, parenthesis, and then the values, the actual values. Click on execute, and now you can see that the command has successfully executed, right? So even doing it for 1,000 times or for lakhs of times, still you tend to make a lot of not lot, but sometimes you still tend to forget. So when you will do it, definitely you will find that a lot of errors initially, but then that is the way to learn things. Okay, so do not get if you find errors, you have to work hard to rectify the errors, because that is a process of learning basically. Okay, so insert into student, and everything has been executed pretty nicely. And now I can give the next values. I will keep everything same, but the ID I need to change, that is 2. Remember why? Because this is a primary key, and every record will have a unique number. Roll number I can keep it at 40, name I can keep it as Vijay, class as 10A. Okay, let me execute this fast. Okay, it is done. And now some new values I'll specify, that is 25, and over here I'll specify something like Nitin, and this is a 10th B. Let me just click on executed. Okay, then I can give 4, and this is 26. Name I can keep it as maybe Mukesh, and I can 10th B. Done, it's executed. And one more I can give 5, and I can specify this as 10, and the name I can give like my friend is Aditya, so I'm going to give my friend's name, that is Aditya, and this is 10th B, and this time I'll make this as class 8B. Okay, done. Close this. Okay, now let us see whether the data is actually been entered in the table or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this table now into the GUI look. Okay, so I'm going to double click on this, and you can see the commands that you have run, and you can see that data is successfully entered in the table. How did this happen? Using the SQL commands. Okay, and remember this ID, this is 1 to 5, this is the primary key, and the same values I need to give in the marks table. Let me just quickly close this. Click on tools, click on the SQL, and now I'm going to enter the data into the marks table. Let me just see the ID, student underscore ID, English and Hindi. Those are the fields. So, okay, pretty nice. Let me click on tools, click on SQL, and I say insert, and never we will forget now into, and then we have marks, then the ID, then the student underscore ID, and we have English, and we have Hindi. Those are the field names. Close the bracket, come to the next line, values. It's not like you have to come to the next line, you can give a space and type values, but I'm coming to the next line so that it is quite visible to you. Okay, quite readable. And then the values. Now over here ID is the primary key, so I'll keep on giving 1 2 3 4 5 in a series. So this is 1, and student ID I will specify 1, so that 1 basically the student ID will refer to the student, that is Ajay. Okay, and the marks I'm going to keep this like this one, give a semicolon, execute, and it is got successfully executed. Now I need to change this to, and even this is also very important, change the marks out here, execute, and that's the second record for Vijay, I guess. Then 3, and over here also 3, and I'm going to make this as 90, and I'm going to execute. It's successfully done. Then 4, the foreign key is also 4. Numbers I'm going to change and make this as 60, and done. And again it comes down to 5. The foreign key is also 5, and 56 and 60, and done. And if I try to do something like 5 and 6, okay, try to do something like 5 and 6, now the 6 foreign key does not, it does not exist. So you can see it is going to give me an error. It will never accept this data because we do not have the ID as 6 in the student table. Click on close, open the marks table, and you can see the data is already successfully, we have fed the data, right? So what was the command that we used? We used the insert, insert into, and the name of the table. So the insert command, basically it is a DDL command. Again I repeat, it's a DDL command. Okay, now what we need to do is we're going to do some we're going to learn some SQL commands by which we are going to do some manipulations in the table. Okay, and I've shown you how you can extract the data from both the tables and can do that, but that is for that is really out of scope. We can also write a SQL command for that. Okay, but what is there in the syllabus, I will just show you that. So this is the student table. So basically I've shown you but how to create two tables, how to connect the tables using the SQL commands. And now let me go to tools, the SQL, and now if I really want to, if I really want to see the data, so how do I do that? I double click on the table and then I see the data. But even that we can do it with the help of the SQL command. So let me do select star, okay, that's the syntax, from students, or only student, name of the table is student, and then the semicolon. That's it. Click on execute, and select star from table not found in statement. Okay, just a minute. Okay, we can display the data, absolutely not a problem, using the select statement. And the command that we have, okay, just a minute, select name ID from student, that is show output. Okay, just a minute, show output of select statement, and name of the table. Let me just write this one, database 1. Okay, this has successfully run the execute. So I have to type it in capital. I don't know why, but it is not, it should not matter, but anyway. So let me just give a the star out here, and you can see it has shown all the data out here. And make sure you give a just tick this show output of select statement, and you can see the data out here, and it is separated by the commas. Okay, so this is how you can do it. So this is what command, this is also a DDL command, that is data sorry, this is a DML command, that is data manipulation language. Please remember this. And then we can do certain changes in the table, like using select statement I can display all the data of the table. Then if I want a specific data like a select star from student, and then I can have the where clause, okay, which is the command, where command. So where, it is also called as clause, where, and I say id is equal to 2. So it will only display that record where the id, the primary key, is 2. If I click on execute, you can see it is only displaying the data with the id 2. So you can use that where clause giving a condition. So this is where I can specify the condition. Okay, so using the select command, you can display the data, understand it. Okay, and then we have, this is like displaying the data. Then we can do some manipulation of the data by manipulation of the data, like for example, I want to, okay, that is, I want to update certain things. Just a minute. So update, you can use that update command. Okay, update, and so update, and the clause is the command is, okay, just a minute, command is update, then the student, okay, and set, okay, and I will say that is class is equal to if I make class equal to uh, class 9, okay, class 9, and where, or class 9, okay. So what this is going to do, a simple command I'm going to show first. This is going to update all the records of the table where class, it is going to set the value of class as class 9. If I click OK, it is successfully executed. Now if I open the table, I'll just show you, close this, and what this will do is, you can see all the records are now become class 9. So this is how we can change the data, okay, using the SQL commands. So please remember, these are some of the important features of the SQL. Now children, officially what I'm doing is, on Sunday I'll be posting 2 more videos related to something more about SQL, and related to reports and forms. Now forms and reports, they're very short, chapter, not a chapter but a very small part they have given, okay, and which is not really that important, but still it's a part of the syllabus, but it's very simple to understand. So I'm just going to post those videos on Sunday, or maybe tomorrow also. And with that, almost all we have finished with the DBMS. Now yes, officially we have finished, but then this requires a lot of practice. So unless and until you don't give time to this, you're not going to understand this. So you need to practice a lot. This requires a lot of practice, children. Without practice you will not understand this, okay. So officially almost all we have done with the syllabus. What I'm going to do is, I will try my level best to as I said, I'm going to post 2 more videos, and certain important points, I'm going to get the screenshots from the book, and I'm going to upload that into the app for your exam, not only for your exam that is upcoming, but for your board exam as well, okay. So because these are the basic things that will be asked, because if you see the sample paper of the board, even you will find the similar questions basically, and even for your actual exam, for the board exams, you will find almost all similar questions. So you have to just follow the pattern of the question paper, and almost all you can score 50 out of 50 pretty easily, okay. So officially we are ending the syllabus. 2 more videos I'll be posting, not as a premiere, but just in the app I'll be uploading those videos. Please watch the videos very carefully, and everything will be very much clear to you, but you need to practice on this. Again I repeat, okay, this is a chapter where you need to practice, okay. As I said, I know it was like pretty simple, I did things pretty fast in front of you, but once you start doing it, it is not really that easy for you, won't be easy. It requires a lot of practice. So please go ahead, practice it. Officially we are done with the syllabus. These are, till queries whatever I done with the previous video. Please do it pretty nicely. Forms and reports, they are very short part is given, very limited part is given, a limited scope. So those videos I'm going to post on by Sunday or maybe tomorrow also. Okay, so that's it. Bye for now.